As we lift our eyes beyond Blue Hills, one could be forgiven for being quite Dickensian as we pause to reflect back on the year we have all shared as a global family. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness, it was the epoch of belief, it was the epoch of incredulity, it was the season of light, it was the season of darkness, it was the spring of hope. As we absorb the almost daily influx of news about the state of our world, intolerance, conflict, suffering, terrorism and division, we could be forgiven for putting world peace in the too hard basket and focusing on the minutiae of our relatively idyllic lives here in New Zealand. However, as educators of our young people, our greatest and brightest hope for the future, we would be naive to shirk from this primary responsibility. Therefore, the challenge is not to ignore the reality of humanity's complex dynamics, but rather to equip and empower our young people with the skills and knowledge to challenge and to contribute positively, for they are the spring of hope. As educators here at Woodford House, we have the privilege of spending the day with outstanding young women, but we also have a great responsibility in ensuring that we pass on the gift of an excellent education. The power of an educated girl is inspirational and transformative. Our educational responsibility is much more than the transfer of knowledge and the building of skills. Rather, it is the development of the whole person who can be both critic and conscience of self and society. Ultimately, girls, it is in your power to close the divisions and create shared understanding. As espoused in the dictum, the education of youth is the renewal of the world. Education is a complicated endeavour. If it was simple, we would have all the answers in place by now. Rather, we have an endless plethora of buzzwords and neologisms vying for our attention. Education has always been fertile ground for rigorous debate, and so it should be. Currently, there is a lot of talk about skills surpassing knowledge as the more valuable currency in our brave new world overseen by social media. I disagree. In fact, as I become more future shocked, I find myself retreating back to my classical, scientific, literary and artistic roots. Yes, we can Google information for content, but my contention is that understanding is a much more enriching process. It is deeply human and will always remain so. Without a broad base of knowledge in the arts, in science, in literature, in history, and so on, skills have a limited context through which to be applied. We risk creating little more than robots who can do a particular job but are unable to ask and explore the big questions of life. On the contrary, it is the marriage of skills and knowledge that will most equip and empower us to pioneer this new frontier. Education is not a means to an end. It isn't a tool to get a particular job or a certain income. It is a pursuit in and of itself, and make no mistake, it will be the most difficult endeavour you undertake in your lifetime. Not because the books are long or the maths equations are very, very hard, but because it requires rethinking the things you know or you thought you knew. It means evaluating how you view the world around you, and more than anything, being able to admit when you might be wrong. Anyone can repeat an idea that agrees with their biases, but it takes a strong individual to continue wanting to learn, to continue wanting to have their preconceptions and pluralistic views challenged, even though they may make you feel satisfied. A holistic education at Woodford House does all of that. As a special character Anglican school for girls, we do give you a lens and a framework through which to view and make sense of the world. We can't define the future for you, but we can promise that you will be a strong leader in a society that desperately needs more of them. With an exceptional Woodford House education, your daughter is exploring the intricacies of self-identity to confidently take her place in this complex world. Increasingly, our wider data set tells a story of a more diverse community. While these facts and figures are incredibly important in making up our identity, the power of who we are sits with our values and our beliefs. And as a special character Christian school, we give you much more than skills. We sow into your hearts and minds, and one day, girls, you will attest to this fine school and how it shaped and influenced you. It is timely now to not only reflect, but to also give thanks for all we have shared as a community. This year commenced with outstanding NCA results, including our highest number of excellence endorsements ever. Our continued academic success is a true testament to the efforts of our students, the dedication of our staff, and of course to the endless support of our families. We had much pleasure in welcoming new staff in a range of key roles, with significant appointments of 2 new deputy principals who have been absolutely outstanding. We have also welcomed a school chaplain and a new director of boarding. Wonderful appointments. Our staff are exemplary and richly deserve my sincere and heartfelt thanks. Your sphere of influence is far-reaching. Again, our boards are ably led by Mr Phil Williams, Mrs Alison Souness, and they provide outstanding governance and numerous hours of tireless support, and we owe them a great deal of gratitude. To our Year 12 girls, I have every confidence that you will be outstanding leaders and role models in 2018. You are already a wonderfully united cohort, and you display strong values. As our school roll peaks next year, your role as school leaders will be crucial and significant. I give you the mantle of leadership. The baton is now in your hands. We have all been in awe of the leadership displayed by the whole Year 13 cohort, so maturely led by Susanna Hanson and Anna Bolt. Today, we thank you and we release you. Girls, your lives are like a book with limited pages, and you are the author. Confidently write your story. Congratulations on completing a significant chapter filled with page-turners and cliffhangers. There are many more stories to tell, and each one has unlimited potential. My advice to you is to make them meaningful, engaging, and memorable. There will be stories that are dramatic and confronting, but girls, as the author, the ending is up to you. I hope you are proud of your time at Woodford House and treasure the memories you hold. You were the first Year 13s to pimp my car. And girls, you are the last year 13 to wear those cardigans. Please, please take them with you. Nunc acet tabulae tempus. Now is the acceptable time. We can't keep you a moment longer, for you are exactly what this world needs. Educated, confident, self-governing, intelligent, empowered, and opinionated. Don't lose that, for there's nothing worse than an uninformed critic. As you step away from the familiar surrounds of Woodford House, please remember this is your school, and girls, the gates will always be open for you. Ngā mihi nui.